Hi everybody, my name is Danielle Nicole and welcome to Monetary Makeup. So today is going to be all about the brand Essence. So Essence recently dropped a few new releases, and the first one is the new 16-hour Cover and Last Powder Foundation, brand new powder bronzers called Kissed by the Light, and a brand new line of highlighters called the Highlighter. So if you're excited to see how these products perform on my 30+ oily dehydrated acne prone skin, don't forget to hit the like button, the notification bell, and let's get started right now. So let's first get started with swatches. The first swatch is the highlighter in the shade 03 Staggering. You get 9 grams of product, and I will put the price up on the screen. The second swatch is one of the new Kissed by the Light bronzers in the shade 02 Sunkissed. You get 10 grams of product, and I will put the price up on the screen. The third swatch is another shade in the Kissed by the Light bronzer in 01 Starkissed. And the last swatch may be a little bit difficult to see since it is so close to my skin tone. This is the new 16-hour powder foundation in the shade 05 Classic Vanilla. So just a couple things I'm noticing on the swatches. The dimension that these new powder bronzers have is quite beautiful, especially the shade that has a little bit of pink to it. It almost reminds me of the Bare Minerals bronzers because there is a little bit of a highlight, bronzer, as well as a blush. Now, I actually wanted to get shade 1 or 2 in the powder foundation, but unfortunately those are out of stock, so that's why I went with shade 5. And lastly, the new highlighter in 03 Staggering. This looks like it is going to be a beautiful lit from within glow, and there is no visible chunks of shimmer or glitter. Now, the only thing I have on my skin right now is my skincare and SPF, so next let's get started with application. First up, the new 16-hour Cover and Last Powder Foundation, again in the shade 05 Classic Vanilla. Going in with Wayne Goss number 2. Now, I actually have not had the best luck with powder foundations, and I think that's a combination of the fact that I'm over 30, I have oily dehydrated skin, I'm also acne prone, and just most powder foundations I have tried really emphasize my dry patches. But when I was swatching this powder, this is one of the most silky powders I have ever swatched, so I do have high hopes. Alright, dipping in with a light hand to get started. This is a natural hair brush, so it does pick up quite a bit of product. So let's do just a little bit on the forehead. I don't apply a ton of product in this area anymore just because I have bangs and I do find it's kind of a waste. Alright, so I would certainly say this is light coverage. Granted, I didn't go in with a ton of product. I can definitely still see some of my redness peeking through. Now, it doesn't appear to be clinging to any of my dry patches. However, my forehead is typically not a problem area. Real quick, I almost forgot to apply concealer first before I go in with the powder foundation. Now, one of my favorite concealers is the Tarte Ultra Creamy, but another product that I've really been enjoying from Ulta, this is called the Under Eye Brightener, and I do find I quite like using this product on its own. So I'm not going to apply a ton of product just because I don't have really severe dark circles, but I do quite like the illuminating effect that this product provides. Now, I really do enjoy the Becca Under Eye Brightener or Corrector, whatever it is called, but I'm also enjoying this one too. Just taking whatever is left over on the brush just down a hair. Alright, really love how this blends out, and I feel like it just gives me a little bit of radiance underneath the eyes. Alright, so let's do the left half of the skin first, that way we can see a side-by-side comparison. I always like to kind of dab it on first and then use buffing motions. Now, you guys are going to have to let me know if you have tried the e.l.f. powder foundation. I think I reviewed that quite a while ago, and it was okay. It did emphasize a little bit of my dry patches, so wasn't the biggest fan. Wasn't terrible or anything, but just not something I reach for. So this is building quite nicely. I'm actually not even tapping off my brush, and so far I'm liking how it looks using this application method. Alright, I'm trying not to get too excited. However, I do have a ton of dehydration around my nose, also around the mouth area. There is not one spot that it is emphasizing in any of those dry patches, so far it looks pretty good. Alright, let's get the other side on. I do like these caps because you can swirl the product in them. It's kind of nice too that I don't feel like you have to do a buffing motion with this powder foundation. It seems to be blending into the skin quite nicely, just kind of going in a paddle motion. Let me even out the nose here. I'm going to do just a little bit of swirling to kind of blend everything in at the end. All right, let's set the under eyes. All right, so this is one light layer. So what do you guys think? I'm going to attempt to build this up just a little bit where I have a tiny bit of redness. Which is pretty much always around my nose. All right, you guys, I brought you in super close. Hello, hopefully I didn't startle you, but I wanted to bring you in, that way you can actually see what my skin is looking like. So I am super blown away. So first of all, usually powder foundations kind of emphasize the fine lines that I'm starting to get. Not seeing that. Now I have quite a bit of large pores, especially in the T-zone. I feel like this did a great job at blurring the pores really all over. And also, usually powder foundations cling around the nose and mouth, but I am not seeing any of that. I feel like everything just looks very smooth and silky. So what do you guys think about how this powder foundation is looking like so far? All right, you guys, I am trying not to get too excited yet because I haven't done a wear test yet, but I am so blown away by how this looks on the skin. Not only did it blur the pores and all of that, but the shade match, I feel like 05, this classic vanilla, is a dead-on shade match. Now, the one thing I will say is that this is definitely not a full coverage powder foundation. I would say it leans more on the light to medium or perhaps medium side, but holy cow, even though you can still see some of my blemishes and that peeking through, I think this looks phenomenal. And I don't typically say that with powder foundations. All right, next let's move on to the new Kissed by the Light Illuminating Powder Bronzers. So once again, the more bronzy shade is 02 Sunkissed, and the one that has a little bit of blush mixed in is an 01 Starkissed. So I like to use 02 Sunkissed on the forehead, and I basically just tap my brush, that way I get a little bit of every shade. All right, so let's first start with the forehead. I really like how this looks on the skin. It is definitely more of an illuminating bronzer. However, I do think it is a perfect balance of illumination and matte bronzer. Now, I'm sure this shade could certainly be built up, but I'm going for a more natural look today. But so far, this is a beautiful bronzer. Next, let's go in with 01 Starkissed. So this was the shade I was most excited for because it has a little bit of a blush tone in there. So I would imagine that because of all the different shades together, this is probably going to give kind of a bronzer effect or a lit from within glow from the sun. Wipe my brush off here. I'm hoping this might be an alternative for the Bare Minerals bronzers. Granted, those are, I don't want to say affordable, but they're certainly not the most expensive product, but let's see. So I'm going to apply this kind of like a blush and bronzer together. It's kind of nice because you can focus your brush more in the individual shades if you would like to. So instead of swirling them all together, I'm going to focus a little bit more in the blush. So let's see if I can get the cheekbones to pop with a little bit of that red or peachy shade. This is beautiful. All right, nothing on this side, and 01 Starkissed on this side. So the one thing I'm noticing about these powders is not only did they swatch silky, but they also apply very silky and buttery to the cheeks. So let's go back into the shade 02 Sunkissed. I just want to try to chisel out the cheekbones just a bit. So I'm going to keep this back just a little bit. Yeah, I think that helped to chisel out the cheekbones just a little bit more. What do you guys think? All right, you guys. Well, I would say that these new bronzers blended out beautifully on the skin. There are no visible chunks of glitter or shimmer in them. I feel like they just gave me a nice, healthy, sunlit glow. And you know, I don't even think I could recommend one shade over the other because I quite enjoy both of them. I would say 02 Sun Kiss gives you that more bronze kind of chiseled effect, whereas 01 Star Kiss has a little bit of that blush mixed in. So I feel like this shade you could get more use out of, but I really like both of them. And lastly, let's dip into the highlighter in the shade 03 Staggering. Now, even though there were two other shades, I went with this shade because it appeared to be a little bit more of a cool tone pink. So the one thing I'm noticing about this 03 Staggering shade is I feel like it is the perfect shade for fair, cool skin. Now, it's certainly not a blinding highlight. However, I do feel like it gives you that beautiful lit from within glow, kind of like all these other products I've tried. Alright you guys, so this is what the complexion is looking like close up with all the new Essence products. I would say all of these products really blended into the skin effortlessly. They didn't give me any issues, and I'm super excited to do a wear test for the new powder foundation. So I will see you guys in a little bit for the wear test. Hi you guys, so as you can see, I'm outside. I wanted to show you what my skin is looking like in natural daylight. Now it's only been about 4 hours. I literally didn't apply any other makeup, no setting spray. I ended up going to the beach for a little bit. We just walked on the water. So first let me show you what my skin is looking like, and then I will go over all my thoughts about these new Essence products. So we're super up close, but you guys know I always like to show you what my skin looks like in that capacity. Alright you guys, I am back and it has been a full 8 hours since you last saw me on camera. So before I get into all of my final thoughts about these new Essence goodies, let me first show you what my skin is looking like up close. Now as far as these new Kiss by the Light bronzers, I absolutely love these. I feel like they give such a nice healthy glow to the skin, and they lasted all day. The only reason I wouldn't recommend these is if you don't like any sort of radiance or luminosity to your bronzers, but if you like that, this is such a beautiful silky formula. And I would definitely say the same goes for the highlighter. I don't feel like it emphasized any of my texture. There's no visible glitter, shimmer, anything like that. I feel like it just gave a nice healthy sheen. So absolutely love the new bronzer and highlighter, but we definitely need to talk about this new powder foundation. You guys, I am so impressed with this 16-hour cover and last powder foundation. As I mentioned earlier, I have oily, dehydrated, acne-prone skin, so a lot of different skin concerns. Now, I have tried so many different powder foundations. Now, the issue I typically run into is on the perimeter of the skin, typically it looks pretty nice and smooth. But once you start to get into the areas where I have dehydration, typically most powder foundations really cling on to those patches. This one did not do that. So not only did it not cling to any of my dry patches, but overall, I just feel like this did such a great job at smoothing and blurring the skin. Now, you can definitely tell at the end of the day that my oils have certainly started to come through, but I don't feel like I look overly greasy. And the other thing is, I use pretty much all Radiant Luminous powders today, so I feel like if you took off the Luminous Radiant Glow that the highlighter and bronzer provided, I think you'd really be able to tell even more the smoothing effect this provides. Alright you guys, well these new Essence products are definitely getting 2 thumbs up from me. I'm super excited, especially about the new powder foundation, and I'm looking forward to using it again. Alright, well I really do hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. It really does help out the channel and help to spread to more people. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye guys!